In today's podcast episode, I'm talking to Dan Rosen. Yes, Dan Rosen, he is in the house, and we are not only talking about the fun stuff, but also about some insightful information, how the pole industry has changed throughout the years, and of course, what you can learn from Susan and how to become the best version of your own pole dancing skills. So enjoy and have fun. And welcome to the Pole Dance Podcast. My name is Claudia, and today I have Dan Rosen here as my guest, and I'm really excited to have you here. So very, very warm welcome, Dan. Thanks for being here.
No worries. Hi, everybody.
This is so exciting because, I had my first Dan Rosen experiences this year during the COVID lockdown. So I was locked down in Spain and was looking for, some pole classes. And then you had your, I think, non-pole conditioning. And I joined immediately because I knew like one day I want to train with you. So let's just dive into who are you as a pole dancer? When did you start pole dancing, and how was your path? Because you were definitely one of the known ones.
Okay, well, I'll give you like a random background. So, hi everyone, I'm Dan. I'm 32 years old. I've been pole dancing for over 12 years. I have my own studio in the UK called IFA Pole and Aerial, and I also run a page called PoleLOLs, which is like a pole meme / fails page, like a funny pole related page that I run, and I run a merchandise company with the PoleLOLs name. And yeah, I travel around teaching workshops and stuff, and I'm most known for Instagram, I guess, so that's probably where people know me the most from. But yeah, I started pole dancing about 12 years ago, and when I was pole dancing, I found out about it through friends who were at a club. So basically there's a club near to where I live, near to where I used to live. And I basically went to this club and there were 4 poles downstairs, and I was like, I really want to see what these people are doing on these poles. And I went downstairs and there was this guy and a girl doing these crazy tricks on the pole, and I was just like, whoa, like these are crazy. And I went up to the guy and I was like, can you show me like how to do that? I want to know. And back then, like butterfly was classed as like quite advanced, and he was doing like butterflies and stuff, and I was like, oh, just show me how to like go upside down. And he showed me, and I did it all night. I was obsessed. But then I just went to classes, and I went to classes. It took me years to get good. I did not pick it up easily. My body was not flexible. I was heavy because I had a bit of extra weight back then. And so I wasn't a natural to it. It took a little while for me to get it.
Wow. I mean, the beginning, was there some alcohol involved? Or were you sober that night?
No, literally, I don't even drink. So this is the funniest part. People always say to me like, oh, wow, were you really drunk? And I'm like, no, I actually wasn't, because I don't drink. So I don't drink alcohol. So for me, I was completely sober, but I just loved a good dance. So yeah.
Yeah, that's even better then. I mean, that's the real spark of a passion that was ignited that night. Yeah, I love it.
Literally.
And you said that you were not flexible or strong or anything. So you didn't have like a sports background. You just, dived into pole dancing.
So when I was a kid, I didn't do any sort of gymnastics or dance or anything like that. No. So the only thing I did was I went to the gym. But the gym doesn't really prepare you for pole. So I went to the gym. So I would say I wasn't athletic by any means, but I had muscle, so I could lift myself, but I wasn't flexible. I was quite heavy. Not like I wasn't large, but I had a bit of extra weight that I could have got rid of. And and that's why I started pole, actually, because I was like, hopefully this will be a great way for me to, lose a little bit of weight and get into good shape. And I just fell in love with it.
Yeah. Oh my God. That's a true love story there. So, 12 years ago, I mean, pole dancing was definitely not mainstream, at least like in Germany and this area. So how did you find your pole studio, or, like, how did you find ways to learn? Because nowadays it's easy. Like in big cities, it's very easy to learn pole dancing, but 12 years ago,
yeah, well, 12 years ago, it was really hard actually because I got turned away from a lot of places because there were a few places that did do it, but a few, they didn't allow men to go because it was very much like a closed class. It was for women only. And it was very much like mixed. So some of the classes back then, they were very much mixed with like burlesque. So it was more striptease style rather than tricks. And, but I wanted to learn the tricks, and I managed to stumble across Stacey Pole, which is actually now called Hearts Dance and Fitness. That's where I first originally went years ago when I lived in Stevenage in the UK. So when I lived there, I lived with my dad, and I used to go there. And yeah, it's fine. I look back at those times and I just think, God, it's crazy. I remember going to workshops with Alethea Austin there. Do you know who Alethea is?
I heard the name, but I have no face right now.
Yeah, so Alethea, she was a really big name back then. Felix Kane, you know Felix Kane? Yeah, so I went to a bunch of Felix Kane. The big names back then, I used to go to the workshops, and it's so funny. The moves that we were learning back then are just so different to what we're doing now. So different. Back then, Superman was advanced. Superman was pretty advanced. Mm-hmm. In competitions, if you could do a handspring, you were going to place. If you didn't win, you would at least place, because hardly anyone could do a handspring back then. It was such a new movement that people were like, whoa. And now it's if you can't do a deadlift, people are just meh.
Yeah, are you even a pole dancer then? Yeah. Right,
exactly. And it's just it's come so far in that time. It's some ways good, some ways bad, but it was years ago now. It's funny. I like remembering what it was like back then. It was good times.
Yeah, but do you think that pole dance it has evolved a lot, and, the tricks are different. The transitions are very complicated and very creative, I would say, at many points. Do you think it's too far that we went? Maybe we should take a step back, or do you think that's exactly the development that sport needed?
I think the development it's had is good, but I think that some pole dancers need to take a step back, because so many pole dancers want to rush when they're learning, So I don't mean sort of famous pole dancers, obviously. I mean so when beginners start classes, I feel like it's rush to the handspring. Let's get handspring within the first month. And it's there's so many things you can do before handspring.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There's so many things you can do before handspring. And I just feel you really need to just take that time, train both sides, learn the cute shapes. And what I'm loving, I'm noticing a real turn recently, especially during lockdown, that cute shapes are very much in at the moment. So doing these pretty shapes, no crazy flips and drops, and no one's really doing that because everyone's training at home. So it's really about the nice, achievable shapes. And really, that's been great for me because that's what I'm good at. I love all those things. So, So I think it's nice to see that turn. But the industry goes up and down all the time. At one point, it was really exotic style. Then it went to pole sports. Now it's kind of moving back to exotic again. And now we're looking at less tricks, more pretty shapes. And it's an ever-changing picture, I think, with pole, but I like where it's going. Yeah, I just think sometimes we need to slow ourselves down when we're trying to get new moves. We need to remember that it's not a rush. You can take your time.
Yeah, definitely. I feel it exactly the same way as you just described it, because sometimes I go into classes and I just want to learn it all, and then I learned that I have so many limitations, because my body is not flexible enough for the trick, or I'm not strong enough yet, but I can practice towards it. And it's just this immediate results that we want to see. I think that's like the tricky part about it. And I remember the first time I saw Susan on Instagram, it actually helped me. I mean, you're Susan, of course, not any other.
No, I don't know her.
No, you don't know her. Well, I'll introduce you to Susan because she's amazing. She's just every part of me is, in Susan. Like, it's just the best mirror that I could have gotten to, be grounded again. Like, literally. Susan has helped me so much to not be this whiny little girl in pole classes.
Do you know what? Susan has been a blessing and a curse in my life in some ways, because she can upset a lot of people, because some people don't like to know the truth. And really, that's kind of what she does, is she makes fun out of what people actually do. And some people don't like that, and that's fine. I mean, she's not for everyone. She's a comedy sort of character, and with comedy is subjective, so some people like it and some people don't. But you know what? The reason I started Susan was because I wanted to laugh at the funny things that students do, because it's what we all do. It's literally what we all do. I do it every day, the wiping your hands on your bum, wiping your hands on the pole, and, moaning that you can't get a trick, that you never train it, not training both sides. And I just think it was needed, because, for so many students, they see the Susan videos and they're like, oh my God, I do that.
Yeah.
So they're like, oh wow, I actually do that. How embarrassing. So I think for lots of people, they're just like, oh, I really should stop that. Do you know what I mean? And in a way, if it's done that, then that's been great, because without actually having to say to someone, listen, you really need to stop moaning about this, or, you really need to train your bad side. Whereas when you're watching a video of Susan and it's kind of making jokes about it, people are like, oh my God, I do that. Oh my God, how embarrassing. I need to stop doing that. So in a way, it's kind of nice, because it's a funny way of like making people aware of the funny things we do in class and how teachers feel about it, But yeah, Susan, I actually feel like I've gone a little bit quiet on the Susan stuff recently, because I've just been very busy. And actually, also because there's only a limit to how much you can do with a character, So maybe I need a different character. Maybe I need to do some more stuff with Danielle, which is the teacher that I do. So I'll do more stuff with her maybe instead. But I've been meaning to. I've just been absolutely crazy, as you know, because I missed our meeting yesterday. But yeah, so I will definitely do some more. I just think I need to wait for life to calm down a little bit and kind of get back to some normality,
Yeah. I mean, 2020 is definitely a year of wake-up calls, and also, just slow down. Like, that's what's happening for me, because I've been rushing so much, and many of my friends and people in my environment were just, heading towards something, and this year everyone had to stop. So I think maybe that's why Susan had to stop, because she couldn't go to pole classes regularly.
Yeah, like Susan's just stuck in quarantine right now,
I mean, what is she doing right now? I was wondering if she's, just having the time of her life, Netflixing all the time instead of pole dancing. I don't know.
Yeah, like she's put on a bit of weight. She's not training so much at the moment, but, she'll be back soon, I'm sure.
I'm sure about that also, yeah. And it's okay for Susan to take a break. But I'm really excited to see more of your characters. So how much of Danielle is there inside you?
Danielle is actually a very over-exaggerated version of me. So some of the stuff she says, like, it's so over the top, but I still have good jokes with my students. Like, some of my students will be like, they'll say things like, oh, should I do this? Do you want me to do it on my bad side? And I'll look at them and I'll be like, is that a real question? Or are you just joking? And they're like, oh, okay. And it's like, just silly things, but they know it comes from a place with love, and I'm only joking around with them. It's just kind of my personality. I like to be funny and sarcastic like that. But, so she is like a real over-exaggerated version of me.
Yeah, I like it. And definitely I've experienced it in your classes. I didn't have a pole during quarantine, so I
Uh-huh.
couldn't take your pole classes, but the non-pole or, the flexibility stuff, it was like I had expectations, like, I had an image of how you might be during classes. And yeah, they were all Mets, and it was just the perfect combination that I wanted. Because you do exactly what you were just talking about, bringing a
Yeah.
lot of humor into the classes instead of just being so focused on being the best,
Mm.
just
Yeah.
enjoy whatever
I
you're
think
doing.
so much of my career has been about teaching people that actually it's not about getting the crazy tricks first time. It's about learning the things you need to work on to get them, and to have fucking fun. Like, this is supposed to be fun, you know? So when people start to, it really makes me sad when people get upset that they can't get stuff, or they start to get emotional because they're struggling with pole at the moment, you know? We all go through periods like that where we're struggling with pole, or we're just not getting anything new, or, we've got an injury. And, the thing is that pole is supposed to be the thing that we do for fun. So it's supposed to be enjoyable. So if you're not enjoying it, it's very much like it's not something you're going to want to carry on with. So you have to make sure that you keep the fun there. And that's why my flexibility classes, I try to keep them fun. And to be honest, non-pole conditioning, when I did that class, oh my God, that one killed me, because I haven't taught HIIT classes in for like ever. And I probably should, because actually I probably would have gotten a lot fitter. But yeah, it just goes to show like the difference actually, because non-pole conditioning, for anyone who's listening, was like a HIIT class, so like high workout. And you forget how different it is to pole. Like, it's not the same as it is. It was intense, but it was fun while it lasted. And, lockdown, when it was at the height of lockdown, I mean, I had so many people coming to classes. It was busy, busy, busy. And then obviously as countries started opening back up, the numbers started to decrease. I still do like one class a week, and they're still pretty busy. So I'm really happy with that. Sorry, I do 1 day a week, and I do 3 classes each day. But yeah, and they're still pretty busy, which is great considering really that so many studios are back open again. But it's nice for people who maybe are afraid of going back to the studio just yet. They maybe don't want to take any risks, or maybe they're high risk, so they just they've decided to stay home. So yeah, they come and pole with me, and it's fun.
Yeah.
We have a really good time.
Definitely. I mean, it's not only about the fear, but it's also, about having different sort of teachers and trainers, so that you can, have new perspectives on your training. Cause I often have the situation where I just feel stuck, but not because, the tricks are not working, but because, I need some variety in my warm up or something from time to time. And I think that's why online classes are amazing. And I hope that they'll stay forever.
Yeah, I don't know whether they will stay forever. I think that I know that I will continue to do mine so long as people attend them. I don't know that the popularity of them will stay as much as maybe now. I think people will probably like studios doing online classes. I don't know whether people will attend those as much anymore, because if their studio is open, they're just going to go to it rather than do it online. But I think for people like me, maybe other famous pole dancers, people will probably still continue to do that, because if they're in a country that, like if they're in Australia, I mean, they're not likely to see me in Australia for at least 1 or 2 years now, So if at all, that's if I ever go back to Australia within my career, I don't know. So for lots of them, it's sometimes just nice for them to be able to be like, well, do you know what? I'm going to do an online class with Dan today, because he's doing one that works at a time for me. So yeah, it's nice for people in different time zones. It's good for people who can't get to me, if they can't get to the studio, it works quite well for them. So that's good.
Yeah. And I mean, you have so many different, like ideas for workshops, and you continue just being creative even there. So that's really like a blessing for all the pole dance students.
I think, I like to describe myself as a hustler. Like, I think when you are self-employed, like, so I don't know if it works the same in Germany, but like when you're a self-employed person, you don't get any help from the government, you don't get any holiday pay, all of this sort of thing. Yeah. So you literally are out for yourself. The money you make is your money, you get to keep it. You just pay your taxes on it, but you don't get paid any holiday or anything like this. So when you are in that position, you are constantly thinking of different ways that you can make money, you know, just to be able to pay your bills, not to get rich even, just to like be able to afford to pay your bills, like generally. And I always, you know, when the lockdown happened, I was like, right, I need to think of some extra ways to make money here because I can't go and teach workshops. And that was like my main source of income. So I was like, right, I always used to get people to ask me to do seminars on social media. So I did that. I did I did seminars on competing. Yeah. No, self-confidence. I promoted that one. That was for someone else. Yeah, that was for Tiffany. But yeah, I did one on competing and I did one on social media. And I run 2 of both of them. They all did really well. And it was good because it allowed me to make that little bit of extra money so I could pay my bills. I just moved home as well. And actually at the time I moved house because I thought, oh, this will be a good idea. I'll move house now whilst I'm not traveling around the world. I was like, and when it's all over, I can just go back to teaching. I'm not teaching again and it'll all be fine. And here we are months down the line and COVID is still around. And I'm like, okay, when is this going to be over?
Yeah.
But I'm here now. And I would never, with my schedule before COVID, I would never have been able to move house. And we needed to. We were outgrowing our last house so bad. And so I'm glad that we're here. But yeah, the whole COVID situation is starting to panic me a little bit now. How is it over in Germany? I've been told that Germany is like killing it and they're doing really well because it's on the list of our good countries that we can go to that we don't have to quarantine.
Yeah, I mean, it's a really strange place because, you know, I was locked down in Spain and I came back to Germany in June or July and it was like a whole different world here. Like nobody really cares. Like you don't see people wearing masks outside. You have to wear a mask when you go into a supermarket, but like, you know, when we go to pole classes, it's okay. Some people wear a mask, some don't. Mm-hmm. I always wipe my pole. I mean, it's just, you know, I think it's just to be polite towards others because I don't know if you know, anybody else could have like some sort of condition I don't know about. And just because I'm not affected, it's, you know, just be polite. This is the
thing. I think, and my view on it is that, I mean, I feel indifferent about the whole situation, to be honest. I don't know how I feel about it because I haven't had it. But my view on it is that I may not be worried about it, but there may be people around me who I love who are concerned about it. Like if I gave it to a family member, I mean, I'd never forgive myself. So I just think, well, you know, I'm just going to keep my social distance. I'm going to wear my mask. You know, I'm going to wear it into the shops. And it's like little things like I went to a shop the other day and I walked in and I was like, oh, damn, I don't have my mask on. And I could have probably just gone in, bought what I wanted and left. And the guy probably would have said nothing. But out of respect to him, I just thought, no, I'm just going to go and get it. It'll take me 2 seconds. I'll just run to my car, get my mask and go back in. And I did. And most people, I think, probably would have just been like, nah, I'll just walk in. It's fine. But I just think if I can stop someone from getting ill because of me, great. Like, you know, and this is why it really upsets me when people just are very it's like, oh, just don't worry about it. It's fine. It's all a hoax or whatever. I'm like, come on, like, just play the game. My dad taught me when I was a kid. He was like, you've got to play the game in life. And that is actually a really good life tip for anyone listening. Just play the game. Like with the whole wearing the mask thing, you know, you may not want to wear a mask, but you just have to play the game and just do it to make people happy. And, you know, if you don't wear a mask, people will start to think differently of you. And, you know, I just want to make sure that I'm doing my bit. You know, I may not catch it. Who knows? I might catch it, you know, but if I caught it, I'd feel really annoyed at the person who gave it to me. you know, so that's why I'm trying to keep my social distance where possible. I was just at a pole camp in Austria recently, and we were very like sanitizing our hands all the time. We were cleaning the poles. We were having photos together and stuff, but we were trying to keep a bit of distance where we could. And, you know, a couple of the students hugged me, and I was a bit like, okay, you know, I'll give you a hug. But I wouldn't want to be like face to face chatting with them for too long. So I was very conscious of that. And again, when we hugged each other, we just sanitized our hands. Like, I think we are at a point now where we've got to be realistic, and we've got to be like, come on, like, we can't hide ourselves indoors for the rest of our lives. No. And we don't know when any cure for this will ever become available. So I just think we just need to be super precautious and try to live our lives the best way that we can. And just make sure we're looking after other people's, you know, health by making sure we're protecting them in the best way we can by sanitizing, wearing masks and distance and all these sorts of things. And yeah, I think the pole industry are starting to realize that now, and people are starting to share poles, but they're keeping distance and they're cleaning the poles between use. And it's really good. It's good to see finally that people aren't like, oh my God, COVID-19. Ah! Yeah. Do you know what I mean? It's like, finally, you're starting to see people be a bit like, okay, guys, listen, we're going to share poles now, but we're going to clean regularly. I want you to wash your hands when you get into the studio. If you're feeling unwell, please don't come to the studio. Yeah. And I think that's a respectful thing to do. You know, if anyone was to come to my studio not feeling well, I'd be insulted that they would put any of my students at risk. You know, it's not fair.
Absolutely. And, you know, it has been the same like forever before, because when you went into an office or something, you know, for your job, and then somebody had a running nose or, you know, was coughing into your face, you would also like keep your distance. And I always felt like really annoyed by that person. Like immediately I would just be like, why don't you just stay at home, relax, watch TV, do whatever you need to do, but just don't come with your germs or whatever you're
especially if you're working in a job where you get paid sickness pay, you know, if they're going to pay you when you're ill, then what is the point? I don't get it. Like, but and I think we're just it's just really weird. I mean, I've never lived through a pandemic before, so obviously this is the first time for everyone, isn't it? So I think it's just a case of just hoping to get some light at the end of the tunnel. I mean, I've got workshops now starting to come up, and they're, you know, we're just being safe. We're sanitizing, we're cleaning and stuff, and it's nice to see some normality coming. But I think the industry won't be quite the same as it was before. I think we'll all just have to be a little bit more well, in a way, I don't think it'll be the same, but I think it'll actually be better, because I think if you consider really like sharing a pole with someone and maybe not cleaning it too much, that's quite unsanitary, really. Like if someone's just, and I've made a meme about this before, and this is a bit disgusting. So for anyone who's sensitive, please mute your phone now. But like if someone has just done a layback or a sit on the pole and they've got like a sweaty vagina area, and then you go and put your hands onto that, I mean, fuck COVID. Like, I don't want anyone's pussy juice all over my hands. Like, come on. Like, do you know what I mean? Like,
I know. It's exactly that point, you know, like it's even my sweaty hands, or like even my sweaty, how do you say, the armpits, you know, if they're sweaty, like that's not so nice if you do some trick and you're on the pole and then like even my own juices or whatever comes out of me, like just, go away.
Just give it a quick wipe. The thing is with pole as well, like we only really use about 6 feet of the pole, really. We don't use the whole length unless we're doing full combos. So really wiping the pole takes 2 seconds. A quick little wipe down with a wipe and then dry it. Easy. And you know, the only thing that I would say that has changed maybe is that more people are being cleanly and sort of using like proper disinfectants now, which again, I only see that as a good thing. So I think that COVID will have an effect on the industry, but only in the sense that it'll make it cleaner. And to be honest, that can only make it good. I think that's good for everybody, you know?
I definitely agree to that. I have one more question to you, because I mean, I've had many interview partners before, but they were mostly all female. So now you are here, a male instructor. And I can imagine, and I remember that you made, I think, a meme about it, that some students, if they don't know you for a long time, they may fall in love with you. Like, because it's this attraction that we have towards somebody, who does the same thing that we do and stuff like that. So did that actually happen to you, or like, what's your experience with that?
No, I've never had that. I mean, not that I know of. I mean, I've got students who, like I would say not love me, but maybe adore me, like my loyal students who only come to my classes. Yeah. They will make me cakes and all these nice things, but, they know I've got a husband at home, so they'd be completely barking up the wrong tree there. But yeah, no, I've got lots of students who are very loyal to me, and I love them so much. But no, I've never had anyone sort of like fall in love with me or anything like that before. So, but I have had a student who had to stop coming to classes because her husband wouldn't allow her to go to a class being taught by a guy. No way. I was like, really? Like, I am gay as the day is long. Like, come on, you do not have to worry about me. Like, but yeah, this man was so insecure in himself, and that's just really sad. And what's even more sad is that she allowed him to control her life like that. And actually, do you know what's so funny? I talk about that instance a lot because so many things of what I do within pole is not only to teach people cool tricks, but it's to make people feel self-confident, feel great about themselves, and to have the self-confidence to be able to say to a man, fuck you, I don't need you, and you're not going to tell me what to do. To create this independent woman, man, whoever, non-binary, male, female, whoever you are, I don't care who you are, but I want them to leave feeling like a better person and feeling like a more confident individual, And I just feel like that's really why I love pole, because I was actually quite shy before really I did pole. I mean, it sounds really silly, but before pole, I feel like I relied on the attention that I got from other men to satisfy my need to be loved. Does that make any sense? I felt like I needed someone to show me attention, that I felt loved. And pole taught me that you can self-love yourself, you can love yourself from within without needing someone to give you that satisfaction, and actually not only does it give me the fitness that I want, it also gives me that as well, so it gives me so much. And that's why I always try to, that's why I really enjoy teaching pole, because I really do see that I've got an instructor, right? And I talk about her a lot as well. When she first came to me, she was in a relationship that was bad. She was engaged to him. He was cheating on her and stuff, and it was terrible. And like, pole has built her confidence up, and she is just such a more confident person now. She's the type of person really that wouldn't just go up to, anyone and talk to them as such. So she was really quiet. She wouldn't put crop tops on. She had to wear full clothing. She was so unconfident in her body, and she's got a lovely body, and over the years of just coming to pole and just building that sense of community, she is such a different person. Like, it's so weird. Like, I'm so proud of where she is, and she's a teacher for me now, and my students fucking love her. Like, Karen is one of our most popular teachers now, and it's literally, she's a completely different person. It's so weird. And that's what I love about pole, is the transformation you see in some people. Not all, because some people who come are already there, but the ones who are quieter and maybe aren't as confident, I look at them and I think, oh, we're going to have fun with you. We're going to make you really confident. And that's why I just love pole and what it can do for people. It's just perfect.
Yeah. I mean, the transformation, it's not that only other people see it, but also how you perceive the world, once you open up to it, and, you see all the strength that pole brings into your, worldview. And then you have all the sensuality also, and the, just the fun, dancing choreos. It's fun. It doesn't have to be perfect. It's still just enjoyable.
Yeah, totally.
I love it. I mean, what was your biggest transformation because you said you didn't need the the love from other people or other men. Was that the biggest change that pole brought to you, or was it something else?
I think, I don't know. My life was just so different before pole. Like, I had a boring job. It was like an office job. I had no sort of career prospects. I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. Like, I was like so confused. And I found pole, and pole helped me feel more confident about myself. And then I was also one of these people that and it sounds terrible, and I'm a bit embarrassed to even talk about it sometimes, because I used to, when I was looking for, potential partners, like guys, when I was going on dates and stuff, I would almost be like, could this guy potentially support me in the future if I needed it? Because I don't know what I'm going to do with my life. And I want, I wouldn't say I wanted a sugar daddy. I wouldn't say that, but I would say that I wanted a guy with a really good job. So if I ever needed someone to fall back on, I could. And that was a really horrible way to feel. And I just felt like I had nothing going for myself. And I felt really unconfident with my own abilities. And starting my own business, becoming self-employed, running my own companies and stuff, was such a big turning point, because now I'm so financially independent that when it comes to having to borrow money from people, I'm like, oh no, I don't want to borrow any money. It's funny because when we bought this new house, I said to my dad I might need to borrow some money, and he lent me some money. And it's sat in my bank account even now. And I'm like, no, don't touch it. Don't touch it. I don't want to use it. I'm going to send it straight back. And I'm hoping still that I won't have to use it. But with everything that we've got going on now, I don't know. But yeah, I'm so much different now than I was then. I was such a different person. And I feel that pole did that for me, because pole gave me a career that I could make my own money from and control my own income. And then I got really good at pole, and obviously I started teaching workshops and stuff. And so I got very lucky, but I did have to work very hard. But yeah, I'd say pole helped me with my financial independence, but also helped me with my inner, like, how I feel about myself, and the fact that I didn't need, I didn't need other people to love me, because I can love myself,
Oh, that's so beautiful. Like, this is something that you can put on a poster.
I know. I'm going to sell it on PoleLOLs. I'm going to make a poster and sell it to you all on PoleLOLs.
Yes, please do it. Please do that. I'll definitely put it up on the wall. I think because that's what I discovered, not only for myself, but for other people at my pole studio, or the pole studios I've been learning at, that, it can just transform the part of your life where you actually need the biggest transformation. Because for most people, it's not about building up muscles or, being stronger, like physically, but it's something different. And it's the whole package that you get there. I love that.
Yeah, it is good. That's what I think is so good about pole, is it can do whatever you want it to do. It can make you learn to self-love yourself. It can make you more independent. It could help you get through a really bad period of your life, because it gives you that focus on something else. Pole, the good thing with things like pole, some people do the same with yoga. Some people do the same with other sports, aerial hoop, aerial silks. It takes you to a space where you can focus on something else that isn't your day-to-day life. And for some people, they need that. And that's why I liked it, because it just really helped me focus on something else and build something for myself. So that's why I loved it so much.
Yeah, and it's built something that everybody else can also enjoy, because PoleLOLs, like, whenever I'm feeling unmotivated or something, I know, like, I can open up Instagram, go to PoleLOLs, and then enjoy those 2 minutes of pure joy that's there. So thank you for creating that. I mean, I think it's not only myself that is very grateful for that. It's so many pole dancers out there.
Yeah, awesome.
For the final part of this interview, I have the same questions that I ask every interview partner, or basically they're not questions, but fill in the blank. So the first one is pole dance is.
Pole dance is a form of self-expression that, like we just said, you can use to, teach yourself a different way of fitness. It could be a confidence building exercise. It could be a place to escape from your kids for an hour for the day so you can have some time for yourself. It could be a place to escape from dark times. Pole dance is whatever you want it to be, really. It's whatever you want it to be, and more,
Oh, beautiful. And when you're not motivated to do your pole dance training, what do you do?
Yeah. See, that's a bit I actually would say I'm not perfect at. When I train, so many people say to me, they're like, "Oh God, you train so much." I'm like, no. I maybe train once or twice a week, but when I train, I'm very productive. So I will write a list down. But when I go through periods where I'm really not in the mood, I try to think of something that's going to make it more fun for me. So what I tend to do is I'll look to train something that I want to train. Or if I've got a song and I'm like, oh, I really want to make a choreography to that, so then I'll make a choreo to that. But sometimes if you're just having a bad session, and, sometimes I just have bad sessions where I'm just like, this is just not going well, they are actually the best sessions to stop and come back another time. And some teachers will tell you differently, actually. Some will tell you that you should push through it, but actually sometimes pushing through it will result in an injury because your body is just not in the mood for it. And that's okay. You just got to accept it and come back to it another time. But yeah, I would just say make sure you've got something. Maybe if it was for a normal pole dancer going to classes, maybe book into a different class. Maybe go to a different class on a different day, meet some new people. Maybe try silks, try hoop, and just try something different for a week. And just give yourself that time to build that motivation back up. But yeah, that's what I would do anyway.
Oh, perfect. And my biggest wish for the pole industry?
My biggest wish for the pole industry is that it continues to grow. I hope that the pole industry will, continue to... Well, I hope that in the future that once COVID is all over and stuff, we can start to learn to be a lot nicer to each other. I feel like the internet has created a very horrible place just recently, not just for pole, but for everyone. I just think... I hope in the future we as a community will become more of a community again, because I feel like there are lots of groups of styles that are against each other, and I don't like that. I wish that we could, become a community again like I felt we were about 5 or 6 years ago. So I hope it will continue like that, and I just hope it will continue to, support women and men, or anybody really who needs it, to really give them what they need, and give them the joy that is pole.
Mm-hmm. Oh, perfect. Thank you so much for that. And the last thing is I have a playlist from the interview guests. So which song, one song please, would you like to add to that playlist? It can be whatever song you want, any genre, anything.
Do you know, it's the first song that came into my head. We'll go with WAP by Cardi.
Of course we do.
Of course. What other song? Well, we were just talking about wet pussies earlier, so we may as well add it to the list. Let's go for it.
It's a perfect roundup for the interview. I actually took because it's Cardi B and Megan. What is her name?
Megan Thee Stallion. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly that woman.
Yeah.
You did the Savage choreo on the Flowwork workshops.
Yeah.
On Fridays. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
Yeah, I was going to say, I did the little, it's like a TikTok dance, actually. It's a dance that Anastasia made, which was an adaptation of a TikTok dance. And I just copied that, and everyone loved it. I was like, oh, thanks, guys.
I mean, sometimes it's that easy.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, thank you, Dan, for your time and for, this really cool talk that we had here. I think that many listeners will be very grateful for your insights that you shared here with us. And I'm hoping to see you soon online, or probably even offline. We don't know.
Yeah, well,
and I'm wishing you all the best.
Anyone who's listening, come and check out my page at Dan Rosen Pole or PoleLOLs. Come to an online class while I've still got them. And yeah, thank you for having me. I hope to see you all soon.